Hi once again. Well, this is the final part of my daughter's gaming PC build. Hopefully you'll learn something new here. If you do see something that you find interesting or helpful in any way, I'd really appreciate you subscribing to my channel. Thank you.
So we've completed the computer, the main components of it. All we have left to do is install the graphics card. But before we do that, we want to do a heat test, correct?
We'll put the graphics card in first,
Okay.
and then we'll test everything heat-wise together with the glass on, because took the glass panels off again. We were able to figure out how to get all of the, as we saw in the last clip, all of the RGB to work on all the fans. So at this point, we just got this to put in, and the drivers that we have to go online
Yes.
probably to install.
So we have the MSI 1660 Ti Ventus XS.
This is only released less than 6 months ago, actually. There's the next line, which is much more expensive, the 2600 line. But this is within the budget that we had. The obligatory box opening, yeah. There we go. Perfect.
Strange angle. Upside down. Okay.
Now this is one without RGB. We would have to go like to the next level, which is like a couple $100 more to get RGB on it. It wasn't worth it. Okay.
That's nice.
Good looking card, right?
Yeah, it's nice.
You wanted something in the middle, right? This is going to take up some of the middle now.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, top of the anti-static, if you can, yeah. Just to be safe.
Should I put the wristband on?
You don't need it for this. When it's a whole part like that, we're good. It's only when like it's an individual chip. So we're going to put this down here. It goes in this slot here. The one for the first video card. Now it's going to use two of these side panels here. So these things here, one of them is going to have to come out. It's already got one out. A second one's going to go. Before we do that though, we try it in there and we see what it looks like. So we take the whole thing up and it goes the other way like this. The fans point towards you. This has a protector on it. Take this protector off. And then the whole thing goes with, it uses two of those slots. Actually, they got the wrong two out. So we're gonna have to pull two of these out because in order to get it to plug into there, the wire's okay, it can stay there. Yeah, it's gonna have to, we're gonna have to take out both of those.
Take out what?
Both of these things right here.
These things?
Yeah, you may need a screwdriver to do that. Let me get a flat blade screwdriver. These things are a pain. It's one of the challenges of this particular case with the motherboard in it. You have to sort of wiggle them out, and unfortunately once you take them out, that's it, the slot is open forever. So you have to go back and forth with this. If you don't wiggle it, I saw another guy online dealing with this. He like hurt his fingers because he was trying to like rip it out. So you gotta go with the fact that metal will eventually break when you wiggle it. I could get a saw, but then I don't want to get metal shavings on the motherboard. So we may have to do this a couple of ways. This is something that would have been easier if the motherboard wasn't in there. We're not pulling it out. We don't need that kind of aggravation. Yeah. What's that?
What are we trying to do? We're trying to bend it?
Trying to bend it until it breaks, till the metal breaks, until we get metal fatigue and it breaks. So back and forth you gotta go. It won't go once. You gotta go back and forth with it until the metal fatigue breaks the metal. And don't scratch the motherboard. Careful there. Careful with the motherboard. That's the problem with this. Take this and bend it up. A lot of complaints with that online. Then we can do this. This is what we wanted to do if we didn't have the motherboard in the way. See what I mean? It didn't scratch anything there, did it?
No, I think just like a lip on the edge.
Find out. And then we gotta do the same thing a second time. It's a pain. That's why it's one of the deficiencies of this case, because normally you have them all, but they screw in. You just have to take them out. Can't even push it through the other way. Doesn't even let you push it through easily. So there we go. Because here, then we can bend this up like this, and it doesn't scratch anything. See what I mean?
And that one too?
This one has to come out too. Just these two, and then we gotta. They did give us one blank to put back in here, and you go back and forth until those don't have a screw thing on it anyway, so you can't put these back. So this is what you wind up with. That's it. Let me get a flashlight. Can't find a good flashlight. So we gotta go with a Boy Scout flashlight. Let's see what it looks like in here. There we go. Looks like just one LAN is going across there, right? It's hard to tell because these are multi-layered boards. You just make sure it didn't scratch off any of the LANs from this. See what I mean?
A little scratch right here.
Yeah, that little scratch like that. Yeah. Okay, we're good. So then the whole card goes into that spot.
I'm sorry, you want to keep this wire down here or you want me to move this?
Just leave it down. Yeah, just leave it. You can be on top of the wire. It doesn't hurt. There's no real power going through there.
Okay, so I'm connecting this bottom piece to the gray piece. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you're going to insert it in there.
I don't know
Yeah.
if you can see this one.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to see, yeah.
So we want to fit it into
That
this
slot.
gray slot.
That's a PCIe slot is what it's called. Just
Put this side.
the LANs in it, yeah. Try not to touch the LANs.
Okay.
This is the only part that's sensitive.
Okay. And
It goes straight down in.
open it like last time?
Did it open?
Yeah.
I think it just self-locks. That's to take it out. You're going to need to use that. It self-locks when it does it.
And as far as the sides go, how do I'm lining it up to the slots.
Well, we got to take it out for 1 second. I think we have to remove something on this case too. This thing here has to come out. It's a blocker. So this thing here is blocking us. See this panel here? We got to take this out. Yeah. And then we put it back in later. And that way you can see the tops where it's got to go.
So I want this,
Between the motherboard.
the metal part, I want to slide very much inside.
In between the case and the motherboard. You want that to go in there, right inside of there. Right in that little crack there. Yeah, like that. And then it should just be able to push it straight down. If you give it some pressure, it
Put
should.
it in the slots.
It's really hard to see.
Yeah.
Got that side, both sides down? Yeah. So with that, we can actually put in, that's why they gave you all these things here. These are the ones to tie it down. So they go from the outside, you have 2 of these, and you screw in both of those. Matter of fact, we're going to need to put that missing.
So we have these pieces and we want to secure on the outside. There are holes I want to spot for on this side, over here.
Yep, you're good.
So,
And then this will go in this blank spot to close it up too when you're done.
okay.
You can put that one in first. You can put those, lock those 2 in. Screwdriver for that one
So I
probably.
want to secure it onto this.
Yeah, onto that external little panel. Yeah. The
There's-
more expensive cases actually have that.
I'm putting this big hole in the middle here.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's right. Expensive cases have that on the inside of the case. But since this is a very compact case, it's external.
See, I'm not sure if it's going to fit this screw.
What's that? Yeah, it'll fit. There's 2 screws in there. You just have to convince the metal. Hold it and you can put the screws in. Sometimes sheet metal needs to be convinced. I could go get a sledgehammer and really convince it, you know. Sometimes I have to do that. But you get them started, we'll screw them in one, tighten them in a minute.
Okay, and which one's am I doing? What's the one on
Right,
the
that one
outside?
over there, yes. Yep, that's it. 2 of them in there. That's okay, we're gonna have to tighten them up anyway with the screwdriver. You wanna do that? They're not delicate, you can push them in. There you go. Give it some grease. I heard it. Those threads aren't necessarily tapped away anyway. And then you want to do the same thing with this one. This filler one goes into the empty spot. It won't necessarily hurt it, but if you'd left it out, a lot of people do, but it looks nicer if it's in. And usually the more expensive cases come with all of those filled in. You could change those screws too. They sell them on Amazon in different colors. Like you want to get red ones or big ones too that are easier to take in and out. They have red, blue, silver, a whole bunch of different ones to choose from. You just have to make sure you get the size 6-32.
I'm not gonna remember that.
Well, like I said, there's 2 sizes. There's the M3, the screws that we did the motherboard with. That's a metric measurement, number 3. And the normal screw that's not metric, the English system, they use 2 numbers to it. One is the size in thousandths of an inch, so it's 6,000ths or 600ths. I'm not even sure now. Don't get me upset. Don't correct me if I'm wrong on that. Don't matter. And then 32 is the number of threads per inch.
Okay.
So when you say the first number before the dash is the size of the actual diameter-wise, I believe it's in hundredths of an inch. And then this, after the dash, there's for the 32, for example, is most common, then that's the number of threads per inch that defines the screw. 6x32 is the most common in a computer case. Certain ones, though, they use the smaller threads, the M3.
Okay.
And that has a different, if you would convert that to English, it would be a different set of numbers. There actually is a conversion to that. Now we got to put power. You see this connector here?
Yes.
Right here, that needs special power. And there's a special one that we saw yesterday. Oh, we can put this on now. Put this back on.
Oh, this is back.
Yeah, you can put this back on. It goes the other way. I think it flips around so that this is flush to it. So it goes this way, yeah, like that. Does it go on the inside?
I think so.
It might go on the inside, doesn't it? Okay, that's okay. We can squeeze it in here like this. Hopefully we can squeeze it in here like this. Or do we squeeze it in here like that? Okay, there we go. There's a way to do it. You just get it so it covers the top of the screws.
Top?
Yeah, and then just screw that other screw in.
Right now it's just floating on top. Is that normal?
Yeah, that's fine. It's just meant to secure it down that way. So now
Nothing that goes like, can't put like a screw here or anything?
No, it's not. It's not. It goes on the outside in. Yeah. No, it doesn't. They don't do it that way with these. This is just like your mother's case.
Yeah.
She has an inexpensive case too from Roswell. As I noticed when I was looking this up, there are like the base chassis is being made by some company in China, and then they sell that. They basically what's called private label it to all these other companies that then put other things on it, like different glass, like MuseTex, whichever company that really is. They're the ones that put the glass on it.
Okay.
Because the version of it that came from the original manufacturer didn't have that.
Okay. I was just thinking maybe I'd just maybe put one more screw.
No, they don't do that. No, the whole idea is just to block the air more than anything else. Now we got to get the power, so we're going to bring this thing back up and get the power to come back around it. So this is one that we had set aside, as you recall. That should be like right here. This can actually support 2 video cards, because one video card is they're either going to be 6 or 8. So this one is an 8, it looked like. So 2 of them are going to go in together just like we used to. They sort of semi-lock together. And the other one we're just going to tie out of the way. We'll see which one is better to do that with, so you don't decide that until you get it in there. As I recall, the hole, if we follow the board from here, the hole that's going to be nearest to it could be either one of those actually. Let's try the top one first. That doesn't look good, then we move to the bottom one. We push this in here. Let me get this, by the way, dressed properly. drape it like this through this hole, push it all the way through first, and we'll fix this later. Okay, so if we now look here, we'll be able to see. Here's the cable coming up from this hole, and we can decide whether we want to do this way and then tie this one back over here, right? So we can use those two. Or we can do these two here and tie this one back down underneath here. Which way do you think looks better?
I'm sorry. You said either go
You
like
do that
this,
way with those two.
bend these in an unnatural way.
Yeah.
Like that. Or go
We can
like
do this one, and then we hide this back in here somewhere.
But then it's not gonna hide back.
That's probably better, right?
No, because this one's not gonna go back down.
Oh, okay.
They don't have slack to
So
do
it's
that.
this one we can just tie it along the side of it, right?
Yeah, so this one I'll just go like this.
Yeah, we can just cable tie that along the side.
Okay, so
You remember how that goes? Same, the same concept.
looking for the clip.
The clip. You're looking for the clip. You got it. I think you may have to keep those two together, two cables. Those will sort of have a little bit of a plastic lock in them. So it may be better to do that. Yep. Hello.
Okay, so we fed the cord that was for the graphics card. We fed the cord through the back here, and this is just the power cord from the power supply. We fed through here. So now we have this dangly bit. So we're just gonna tie this back.
Yeah, we'll tie those back when we do cable management on that.
Other than that, that's just how you get power to the graphics card.
Yep, that's what we need. So we can actually, if we wanted to, we could put a couple of cable ties on that now. We'll just keep those two together like this, right? And we'll just tie it to the other one. And when we dress it, we're going to push those back down as much as we can and
That's
tie them on
snappy.
the other side. And there's going to be complaints online about the mustard and spaghetti cables. I can tell you that right now. If anybody watches that who's an aficionado of modern computer builds, everything has to be black.
Well, they can send me the money.
That's right. Send us the money to buy all black. Still have to clean all this mess up later. There's no reason to waste time online about that because we have other things we've got to do here. Now that the card is installed, we've got to get the drivers installed. So we'll just leave it down for now. We can run it with this down, and then we're going to have to go online. So I'll have to hook up the monitor anyway to hook this thing up. We got it plugged in, we got the monitor plugged in, so I guess we can power it on. Oh, I didn't turn the power supply on. That would help. Here we go. It's off and running. There we go. Tough Gaming is coming up. You know what? I plugged the monitor in the wrong place. The monitor now has to go into the video card.
Okay.
So let me shut this thing down. Because the other video card still works. That's on the motherboard, but that's not the one we want to use. So I will move this. You see over here? You could actually look at this. There's a bunch of connectors in the back of this. There's a display port. That's a display. That's what you're going to use when you get it home. It's a different cable I have in your case. And then you have an HDMI. One HDMI, I believe. Yeah, we got 3 display ports and one You can actually put 4 monitors on.
Interesting.
This one here doesn't go here. It goes into this one. And now you can power it on again. Yep. Big one. There we go. So now this is the first test of the video card. Because if the video card is working, we should be able to see. If we had left this power off, for example, it wouldn't. There we go. Now it's going through the video card. It will produce better video through that card. It'll be faster video, it'll be higher quality. Here, you gotta log in. Now we gotta go to the NVIDIA website. Now even though just to point out to everybody, even though we did not with a driver card, we're not going to use that one. Chances are those are really old drivers. And chances are they were modified by, in this case, MSI. Their testing of this card. I want to go to NVIDIA's website because they're the ones that make the actual chip that is that video card. The NVIDIA is NVIDIA architecture. GeForce Experience. Drivers. We do want to automatically update drivers, so we will tell it download that part of it first. We're going to install that. We are running as administrator here, but we'd be very careful only doing what we know we want to do. It will prompt us Windows 10, the latest build of it, before it does anything. It'll say, are you sure you want to do this? But if you are logged in as administrator, you don't have to type in a password, because it already has your password. So we want to be careful about that. We want to allow this app to make changes to your device. See, it's given us a warning.
Yeah.
Administrator, fortunately it does. Earlier versions of Windows did not do that. Say yes to that. We're conscious about what we're doing here. We're going to agree and install. This way you'll get notifications from NVIDIA every time there's a new driver.
Okay.
You can make the decision whether you want to install it. You open this GeForce Experience icon, or you can move the icon to the screen. You open up that program and it'll tell you if there's a new driver, and it'll tell you what the new driver has in it. And you can make a decision whether you want to download that or not.
Okay.
Still installing. It wants us to create an account, so we'll let you create an account here. I'll block the camera from it. I'm going to create an account here. Sometimes the driver gets changed for new games, even new versions of games, in order to make those games run better. So a lot of the updates are game specific. Download the drivers, yeah. Download the drivers.
Express or custom?
Express. Okay, it's giving you a warning again. Say yes. You know what it's doing. Installing?
Yeah.
Yeah. It may blink the screen a few times when it's doing drivers. Quite normal for it to do that because it's actually changing the way the video gets displayed. It's not anything to worry about if you see the screen go black a couple of times while it's installing a new driver. Okay? Change the resolution a little bit there, didn't it? So.
Yes, nice.
Okay, hit close and I think you're done. Now notice you got GeForce icon on your desktop.
Yeah.
So in the future, if you ever but you'll get an alert that'll pop up saying there's a new driver from Windows 10. Check for updates again. See that check for updates over there? Check for updates. It'll tell you.
You have the latest GeForce.
Yep, and you're good. So you can close this now. You can just X out. Okay, we are really done at this point.
Yeah.
Thing I would suggest, which I'm not going to do the video on today, is that we in the optimizations to Windows 10. I have a paper I wrote for that. You could try it yourself if you want. But at this point, we can actually pack this guy up, and we'll be ready to go. Let's do that. Well, we have just some more wire management. So let's just say goodbye to everybody. Okay, that concludes the gaming PC build. I hope you got something out of it, and if you did, please do me a favor and subscribe to my channel. It'll really help us grow and make new videos available to everybody. Just click on this little head here, and that's all you have to do. Thank you.